right, guys, welcome back to another money news and load board episode. Guys, this is going to be episode number 4, and this one's going to be for Monday the 24th. I got a little bit behind. I just posted one about half an hour ago. That was episode 3, and this is going to be episode 4. So we're getting back on track here and trying to get the ones we got going here. Guys, let me start off by saying thank you for everybody. Thank you for all the new subscribers. Thank you for everybody that watched the videos, been watching the videos. Guys, give me a like, a follow, comment, subscribe, all that stuff that every YouTuber always tells you. That's not really why I'm here, but I'm trying to help you guys figure out if this thing over here at Swift or what's the best thing for you and give you a little bit of an idea of what's going on. So, money news and load board this week for the 24th. Guys, I had a pretty good week. I think it was a decent week once I ran the numbers, and we'll go over them here in a minute. Once I ran the numbers, I was kind of shocked that I used so much fuel and did so many deadhead miles. So we got to work on that a little bit. But overall, I had a pretty good week. Money, news, and load board. Let's start with the news first. As far as any news new to Swift or in trucking, I can't really say a whole lot. I think the rates fell a little bit again this week over every department. I think reefer is maybe the only one kind of holding ground here, but of course flatbed is starting to slow down a little bit. It seems like dry van lost a little bit. My guys and my buddies over in the container world are telling me container rates are through the roof, so I haven't really checked on that. And of course, I don't run containers anymore, but that is, I guess, neither here nor there. If you run containers, good job. And I get it why you can. I know all the container companies, I just saw a report that came through the other day that all the container companies are making money hand over fist. So you got to think that maybe they're passing along that a little bit. So let's hope that. As far as news with Swift, we did have a video come out this week, an owner operator a video. They answered some questions. They gave a new said they were going to be making some tweaks to the load board that I think are going to be good. That was early on, even when I was here last year with Swift. Early on, my biggest complaint about the load board was there weren't a lot of ways to filter the loads. There weren't enough loads, and just the load board seemed kind of cheap. Is the best way I can describe it. They've kind of fixed that a little bit, and they say that after the first week in September, they're going to be making some major changes to the load board as far as filtering through loads, filtering through money, that kind of thing, which I think will be good. I would even suggest maybe coming from Landstar, with the Landstar load board was great to me and kind of what I cut my teeth on, but you could filter the loads. You could run, if you ran a load, it would tell you a load to come back on if you wanted to just run out and back. And it would give you like a triangle type load if you want to just run a triangle out, bing, 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 boom, kind of thing. But we're coming along here. I do think that they're trying to make it better. I think they touched on the money portion of it, which I thought was great, about the load pricing and the way they're pricing the loads, and some other things. So if you either go over and watch it on their channel on YouTube, or you can go to one of my socials. I posted it on Facebook. And I think I reposted it on my YouTube maybe, but if I didn't, then definitely on Facebook. So go check it out over there. As far as news, I don't really have anything else. So let's get to the money, and then we'll do the load board. Okay. Money, like I said, I had a pretty good week. I think with the last one I told you guys I didn't do what each load paid, so I did that this week. And this is for the pay period between 8/12 and 8/18. Of course, we run from Wednesday to Tuesday, and then the payday would be on the 24th, which I'm shooting this on Sunday, so it'll be tomorrow. First load I did was, and like I said, guys, I did a pretty good week. I had a pretty good week considering, but for some reason I let the deadhead and the fuel get out of hand. I'm not sure why, but because that's kind of unlike me. I kind of know exactly what's going on with the deadhead and fuel and stuff. So the first load I took was from Mount Pleasant, South Carolina. I came out of the house here, went to Savannah, Georgia. That was 127 loaded miles. That load paid $416, and I just do the solid number. I won't do the cents, guys. Next load I did Ella Bell, South Carolina to Lakeland, Florida. That was 355 miles at $1,132. Then I went to Statesboro, Georgia, and picked up Fort Pierce, Florida, $1,412. I know what you're thinking. You're saying, why did you go from Lakeland all the way back to Statesboro? Well, I didn't plan on doing that. So basically, what happened was I picked one up in Lakeland, and I went from Lakeland. I deadheaded from Lakeland back to south of Jacksonville, maybe. And when I got there, they rejected the trailer. So instead of, it was in the evening, I was out of hours for the day. Instead of trying to fight and try to find another trailer and all that, which is part of the problem I had the week before, I they just took me off that load, and I picked up the next load was in Statesboro. So I basically had to deadhead from Lakeland back to Statesboro, and that killed me. That killed my week, and I didn't like that. Went to Fort Pierce. Next load I did was from Jacksonville, Florida, back to North Charleston, $373. Hardyville, South Carolina to Charlotte, $654. And then from Charlotte to Marianna, Florida, $1,038. That gave me 1,913 loaded miles and then 833 deadhead miles. And you can see, guys, that's what killed me this week. The deadhead miles killed me. Usually I don't do that. I do not like to have any more than 500 miles of deadhead, even if I do that. I want to say this week I'll be close to having 250 miles deadhead. And that's, guys, one of the things about this load board is I've already got my week planned out. I've already got my week planned out through, I want to say, Tuesday or Wednesday into the next pay period. And that's one of the things I really like about this. I kind of know what I'm doing. It's kind of like Landstar. I can set my week up, that kind of thing. But let's get into the numbers, guys, here. Gross money, $5,086. Loaded miles, 1,913. Deadhead miles, 833. All miles, 2,746 miles, all in. My fixed costs were $262. Of course, we don't discuss truck payment over here because truck payment doesn't matter. $262 is what all the charges that come from Swift minus the truck payment. Fuel, and this is what killed me, $2,227 worth of fuel. Now, I know that helped me going into this week, and I am a lot better typically at figuring out what my fuel is, where I'm buying fuel, the cost of my fuel. So I'm not sure exactly what happened, but I had a bad go of it. So when I took the gross money, I took out the fixed cost, and I took out the fuel. That left me net $2,597 to do what I needed to do with. Now you'll notice on this week I didn't talk about my overhead because that doesn't matter. You guys may or may not have the overhead. That's my storage unit, my parking spot for my truck in a gated locked in facility, that kind of stuff. So net was $2,597. So when I took that and I just divided it in, that left me per loaded mile, I did $2.66 per loaded mile. And then all miles, including the deadhead, that's what killed me, $1.85 a mile. So that's what killed me this week. So overall, a pretty good week. But I did get $60 worth of detention on one of those loads. I think that was the North Charleston load. When I got there, it was delivered to a Michael's craft store, and that took basically all night to get unloaded. So that got some detention there. But overall, pretty good week. I wish I would have watched the fuel more, or I wish I would have kind of known what was going on with the fuel. But overall, pretty good week. So yeah, I can't complain. Money, did the money. As far as the money, again, guys, there's a ton of loads over here. You're going to see when I do the load board here in a second, there's a ton of loads out there. And you can definitely, I want to thank the drivers that reached out and had some comments and questions. One particularly about getting loads from Richmond, Virginia, that kind of thing. I mean, I don't see, again, I run a Southeast regional type deal. I run over, the farthest I've gone out is Alabama and Virginia at this point. And I'm going to stay here in the Southeast. The money's good. There's plenty of loads. I'm close to Florida. Why not? I do have to, maybe deadhead a little bit out of Florida every now and then, but I'm figuring out the system over here again. And so it's been good. So let's get over and jump into the load board. All right, guys, let's get into this load board here. As you can see, this is the Swift load board. I just logged in. This is the screen you come to as soon as you log in. It's got my scorecard here, which I'll show you here. It says 100% on time performance. That means I show up to, when I tell somebody I'm going to be somewhere, I do it. And that's the main thing over here, guys, because if you're not showing up or you're canceling on loads or you are not delivering loads on time, they will take you off the load board. So you can see 100% here, zero cancellations in the middle. Load board usage, I've used the load board 91% of the time since I've been back. Now, I have taken a couple of the planner loads just because to help out, that kind of thing. But 91% usage of the load board. So that's basically all I do is pull from the load board. Here on the left, you'll have the load board map that will pull up the map here and it'll show you how many loads. Give it a second here. It'll show you how many loads are out there right now. Guys, as you can see, if you zoom in here, this will show you there are a ton of loads out here. Let's start here in the Northwest, in Washington, Oregon. There's not too many. Guys, there are always a ton of loads here in California. Currently, they're 91. So let's just take California, Nevada, and Arizona here. You've got 91, 47, and 17. Guys, this is on a Sunday afternoon. Most of the guys I have talked to are taking loads in the mornings, and they're taking them through the week, especially over the weekend. You can see here in the Midwest, the west to Midwest, Colorado, Wyoming, those places are always bare, so you're not seeing a lot of ton of freight coming out of here. Texas, there's a lot of freight, 68 loads. You can see as we get into the Midwest, into Kansas, Missouri, Illinois, Nebraska, up in here into Illinois, St. Louis, those areas, lots of loads. Then you'll get into the northwest or the northeast here. There's a lot of loads. And not as you get into the northeast per se, as far as like New Jersey, Massachusetts. You'll see over here on the far right, when you zoom in, it goes down through Maryland, New Jersey, Rhode Island. Not a lot of loads, and they're not a lot of loads because I don't think that we do a lot up that way. Now, when you get back into Pennsylvania, Ohio, Indiana, Kentucky, that's Tennessee, that you'll see the loads start picking back up. And then the area I run here, you'll just see from Virginia down to Florida, 43 in Virginia, 43 in North Carolina, 30 in South Carolina, 62 in Georgia, 51 in Alabama, 6 in, I guess this is probably Mississippi here, and then 21 in Florida. Guys, that's a lot of loads if you ask me. Then when you pull over here to the load board, it will just let you, we'll click on that one. Come on, internet, let's go. It'll pop up and it'll just, you'll start seeing the loads, right? And you can look at it this way. So if you go to load map, you can click on the per state. If you go into load board, you can see the origin city. I think we had a request here from Richmond, so we'll do that one first. Let's go out 100 miles from Richmond. And guys, you can start seeing some of the load board here. And I'll just scroll through instead of reading them out. But this is 100 miles outside of Richmond. I mean, this is a good load. Chester to Lebanon, Pennsylvania, 255 miles, 770. I think that's a good load. You'll see some of these that just say book. That means when you book them or when you need to call about them, you just have to call your driver consultant and ask them. They can give you the rate. Elkton, Williamsburg. Guys, there's a lot. This is a lot of loads. This is 100 miles outside of Richmond, Virginia, I think is what we were looking at here. But you can see there's quite a few loads here. This is on a Sunday afternoon. There's 2 pages worth of loads here. Sunday afternoon, you know. Guys, a ton of weekend work over here if you want to work on a weekend. I haven't had a problem picking up a weekend load. And again, guys, I stay more Southeast regional. I like to go 6-7 hours outside the house and then, you know, stick right around that 6-7 hour range. Um, you'll see over here on the right here, most of these loads say Swift. We are running loads off the Uber load board. I'll see if we can't look one up or hunt one up here. But I mean, a decent set of loads. Let's go back and let's do another one. Let's look at Georgia, because that's a lane that I run quite a bit. And guys, like I said, I'm running Southeast Regional, so I'm bouncing from South Carolina to North Carolina. I've run a couple loads into Virginia, not really my thing, because it seems like it's, if I get to Virginia, they want to go out. They don't want to come back south, per se. Let's look on the load board here. Let's do it this way. But you guys can see here on a Sunday afternoon, I mean, that's a lot of loads to me on a load board for a Sunday afternoon. A lot more if that's what if you're afraid that you're going to get over here and not going to have any freight. I don't think that's going to be a problem. 64 loads out of Georgia currently. Let's see what they are. Guys, I grab a lot of these loads out of Georgia and run them back to the Carolinas, or run them back to Florida, and I make a decent wage doing that. You'll see here. Atlanta, a lot of stuff, of course, Atlanta. A lot of stuff coming out of Savannah now. A lot of stuff comes out of Albany for us, where we're picking up Albany loads and going places. Atlanta, of course. This to me is a good load. Union City, Georgia to Marianna, Florida. 255 miles at 644.50. That's 50% of the load, guys. And that's one of the things we're talking about here now, is we're trying to, Swift is saying, well, we can only pay you 50% of the load, because Swift would take a loser. I think that's one of the things that we're trying to get worked out, or they're trying to get worked out, as far as when they were talking the other day about on the live show they did. But you can see, I mean, there's a lot of loads here in Georgia. Atlanta to Somerville. I mean, that's a good load to me. And like I said, guys, this week I was doing per loaded mile somewhere around $2.66 a mile. I know to be profitable, I'm choosing loads that are trying to get me somewhere around the 205, 210 range with fuel and everything all in. This week I missed that by a little bit because I had so much deadhead. But you can see here, I mean, there are a ton of loads. Georgia to Texas, I mean, those loads are always kind of iffy. But there's 7 pages of loads here just out of Georgia. So again, you can find something. Excuse me. Guys, I'll do one more. I think if it'll pull up here, we'll try to do one more. Here, guys, if you will, go on after you get what I'm watching, put some of these load board requests in. I don't mind. 77 loads out of Texas. Let's look, 93 now out of Georgia, 44 out of Florida. Let's do 135 in Pennsylvania. Let's do a couple pages of Pennsylvania, because that's about as far as I would go now. I don't really run the Northeast anymore. I don't run to New York. I don't run to New Jersey. I don't run to Connecticut anymore. I don't run to Rhode Island anymore, where I used to do some of that with Mercer and Landstar. I just kind of refuse to do that now. It's hard to get back out of there, and you get up there and you get stuck in the ping pong. I call it ping pong, load ping pong, where they're just running you bing, bang, boom, to running you more like a local driver. But you can see some of these loads. And a lot of these are day to run loads, guys. York, Pennsylvania to Dunn, North Carolina, 384 miles, 867. I mean, it's kind of heavy. I don't know that I would pull that load. Again, 9 pages of loads out of Pennsylvania, guys. Surely you can find something. You just need to run your business right. I run everything through ChatGPT now. I run every load, every decision that I make, and run it into the program. I just basically loaded it up. It spit out. I told them what I was trying to do, what I'm doing. Here's one: York, Pennsylvania to Jacksonville, Florida, 798 miles, 1683.50. That's a Swift and that's a decent load. So guys, I think you can find something. Please go on to when you guys watch this, give me some more load board requests. I hope the Richmond, Virginia one was helpful to you. And yeah, that's about it. Guys, follow me on all socials. I'm on Facebook, Instagram. Give me a like, follow, subscribe. Share this with another driver. If you think another driver is thinking about coming over to Swift, my driver code, I'll put it in the description box. If they want to use me as a reference, by all means, if you're in the South Carolina, Southeast, get with Michelle. She's great at what she does. She'll help you out tremendously, and I couldn't say enough good stuff about her. So we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks.